Don, can you tell Bernie that I have a jar for her? I'll bring it over tomorrow.
Oh, okay,
For
great.
cookies.
Yeah, she'll be happy with that.
Are you waving at the camera, Jay?
I'll sign it. I'll sign it.
I was waiting on Stuart. I didn't know she had the camera on.
As long as it's legible to whoever testing on here. So I can read it.
Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order, please, for September 20th, 2017. Board of Supervisors, would you all please rise and join me in the pledge to the flag?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you all for coming. First on the agenda is public comments on the agenda items. If you have, please, would you state your name and address? Okay, seeing none, I'll move on to announcements. We will be holding an executive session, I believe, tonight to discuss some real estate matters after the meeting. Any other issues? Okay.
Nope.
Nope, okay. Approval of the minutes for August the 16th. Have either of you two gentlemen had a chance to look at them? Do you have any corrections or additions?
I've read them and I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, motion's been made to approve.
I'll second that motion.
Second it. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Ayes have it. Thank you. Yes. Thank you for reminding me. Minutes for the 13th of September, the special meeting we had for the
MS4.
MS4. Have either of you had a chance to review them? Do you have any changes or additions to them?
I read them, they're in order.
Okay. Is that a motion?
Put a motion.
Okay, motion's been made.
Second.
Second, all those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. Moving on next, our confirmed appointments. The first one on the agenda is Percy Regional Authority.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Stand over there, I guess.
Yep, right here.
Hi, my name is Pete Anderson. I'm with an engineering firm representing the Percy Regional Authority. We're here tonight to discuss with the Board of Supervisors the possibility of public sewer and water in Bethlehem Road. I have it should be up on the screen, and also
Thank you, Bean.
your individual version.
Okay.
Thank you. I didn't forget you, Mary.
Did you have one for you?
No, I have it all memorized.
Well, I'll leave it here.
Anyway, the blue squiggly line is the 3-mile run, and it kind of goes from lower left, upper right, like a good stock chart would go. And Bethlehem Pike is starting in the upper left-hand corner and going kind of the middle of the bottom. Up is north, and down is south in the plan. We're proposing, way back a number of years ago, we had talked about a sewage pumping station in order to provide public sewer to this area. And recently we've had some discussions with East Rockhill Township, and we found that we can connect by gravity into their interceptor, which goes along the 3-mile run, which goes to their sewage pumping station. So we would eliminate a sewage pumping station, which is an expense, an operating expense, a capital expense, and it's also kind of a pain in the neck to operate. If you can eliminate pumping stations, gravity always seems to work. And the only issue with connection to East Rockhill is the limitation as to the capacity of their sewage pumping station and how many EDUs, equivalent dwelling units, they're willing to sell to the authority. In some preliminary discussions, they indicated that they could sell 25 or so, and the possibility that maybe later some more. So the project is more or less limited to between 25 and 50 EDUs at this point in time. If they upgrade their station, maybe some additional capacity could come to us in the future. But this is by far and away, as far as the absolute cost of construction, this is the cheapest way of doing it. There's no pumping station to build, there's no force main to come back up the hill. The green line on the plan represents our proposed sewer. The sewer would extend from north of Royan. There's 3 or 4 properties, 5 properties, modest houses. It goes to the furthest northerly house. And as far as to the south, it goes to Mill Road and just a little south of Mill Road. So we get everybody along Bethlehem Road. Bethlehem, I call it Bethlehem Road.
Bethlehem Pike.
Yeah. The odd part about this is, as over time, on Old Bethlehem Pike, coming between Bethlehem Pike and Old Bethlehem Pike, the houses and the properties have been developed with public sewer, so now mostly we have people on the western side of Bethlehem Pike are the only ones that are going to get sewer with this project, which makes it somewhat expensive. So we're here tonight to discuss with you whether or not the Board of Supervisors will entertain a mandatory connection ordinance for both public water and public sewer for this project. And Nick Fretz is here from the Percy Regional Authority. If you have any questions, also two of the board members are here. So if you have any questions to ask of any of us, we'd be more than happy to answer them.
Jim, I have a question. It was my understanding East Rockhill was already in the process of upgrading that pump station. Is that a fact or it's not a fact?
I can speak to that.
Thank you.
Their long-term plan is to upgrade it. There's, like anyone else, they're seeking grant funds and other opportunities to finance.
So is that going to be part of this program?
I believe East Rockhill's plan is to upgrade that pump station whether or not this ever happens. They need to upgrade it because it's an old pump station and it's due for refurb. It has extra capacity in it now, and it'll have extra capacity when it's upgraded.
Mm-hmm. Would that upgrade be passed along to our residents? The cost of it?
I don't want to speak too much for East
No,
Rockhill.
okay.
I mean, at this point, there's no discussion of that.
Pete, can I ask the costs? The cost, from what we have been told, are double of what they had originally been proposed to.
Yeah,
The
good evening, guys.
2 years ago. Hi, Nick.
Nick Fretz, Percy Regional Authority. The cost of this project, total construction cost, is significantly less than the previous project. The reason that the tapping fees for each individual property will be more is, like Pete said, the limited number of connections into this project. Previously, we were taking the total cost of the project, dividing it by the hope of 50 units connecting in. When we ran this project and ran the numbers, we're looking at closer to maybe 21 to 23, somewhere in that area of connecting, which is going to cause the cost to go close to double because of the numerator dividing the total cost by that numerator is half of what it was previously. So although the cost for this project is substantially less, the cost for the customers doesn't decrease by that same amount.
But Pete just explained that you eliminated the pumping station down at Fedegari. So wouldn't that make the project cheaper?
Correct. The previous cost for the previous project that included the pump station was roughly $3.1, $3.2 million.
Okay.
The estimated cost for this project is somewhere around 1.4 to 1.5 million.
The difference comes from dividing it by a much smaller number.
I understand that.
And with talking with East Rockhill, there was no guarantee that we'd get more than 50 EDUs sometime. And 25 is kind of the limit that they wanted to impose upon us now, and kind of take a look-see as to whether or not that's going to have any kind of a significant impact on their operation of their pumping station.
So is the upgrade based, what you're proposing, based on the existing pump station, or you and they going to develop a new pump station?
I think their upgrade is totally independent based upon the age of their sewage pumping station. And whether or not we're here, PRA is going to connect in any units. They're going to have to upgrade their pumping station just because it's, I don't want to say it's getting old and tired, but it's getting old and tired.
It is old and tired.
Yeah.
So what are they going to charge you for using that pumping station?
There's going to be a capital charge for the purchase of some capacity, and there's going to be I think an incremental charge for pumping our sewage.
And those charges are included in what you're proposing would be the cost up Bethel Pike?
The capital cost to buy the capacity would be included, and then the ongoing charge would be an additional quarterly charge to the customers for using the system.
So where does Percy get involved in terms of expending infrastructure that belongs to them? Because it seems that everything gets passed on to the user. I mean, you're in the business of handling sewer.
Correct.
It seems to me that any kind of business needs initial investments
Correct.
that aren't necessarily paid for the customer until you have the product available.
And the authority board has agreed to fund the entire project and offer a 20-year payment plan at 0 interest for all the customers that connect.
Okay, but what they're going to be charged to connect over 20 years is the total cost.
Correct. No. The only cost that will be passed on to the customers would be the construction cost. The authority would pay all of the solicitor fees, any lawyer fees, all of the engineering costs, all of the review costs, all of those costs would be paid for by the authority. So just the construction costs.
Well, one of the things that I am struggling with is, and I think we supported this basically because there was a lot of failed systems last time, is the fact that this price has doubled from the last time you were in here, and that's the thing that
Even that one was high.
you know, you could make reason if it's the cost of a sand mound, but to have it twice that cost, and I think it worked out to $262 or $265 a month for a property owner for 20 years. That is, I mean, I think that's high. I'm not disputing your calculations.
Right.
From our perspective, from sitting here representing the public,
Right.
we have a hard time.
So if before their cost was around $30,000 to do the installation, it's going to be around $60 now.
That $30,000 was just for sewer. The $60 that he's speaking about now is both water and sewer, but yes.
It's a lot of money.
And unfortunately, some of the properties are worthless right now without public sewer.
And how far up are you going to take the line with this proposal?
Well, with this proposal, it goes 4 or 5 properties north of the Royan, but that's all uphill. So, and again, build it and they will come. We think that once the sewer becomes available, I think the rest of the street will start slowly to change. You know, if you look on the eastern side of Bethel and Pike, you have a certain style and quality of and age of building. On the west side, which does not have public sewer, you see a certain style and age of building. And the one does not look like the other side. And that's the result of public sewers. The supervisors, I guess, passed a change of zoning, went through a comprehensive plan, and this is zoned commercial and industrial. And it's never going to take off without public sewer. So we were trying to react to your proposal and your comprehensive plan, and this decision remains yours.
That being said, the people that own the properties are basically homeowners right now. That we see, and to pass those costs on to them, from my perspective, I think it's too expensive. That's only my perspective.
And that's certainly, that's fine. I mean, we're just trying to make a proposal to you to review, and this decision is yours.
Jim, you have any thoughts?
I think it's really high too. I mean, and not only that, but we know that there are some places up there like Royan that we really want to take a hit.
I would suggest you put it in writing, what you're proposing to, what the rates are, and what the longer term plan is. And that'll give us a better opportunity to look at it versus in a meeting, public meeting, we're just talking about numbers. We need to see facts on paper.
Sure.
Yeah, I can see.
Okay?
Hopefully we can convince you.
Okay.
Thanks, Pete.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. They're on the authority. They're on the authority.
Yeah, I know.
I forget his name. Okay, moving along. Next on the agenda, Mr. Rambo.
Hi Jay, how are you?
Good, how you doing?
I thought long and hard about how I was going to start this conversation tonight. Speak up a little to it. Can you turn up the volume? I thought long and hard about how I was going to have this conversation tonight. I have a lot of questions.
Excuse me, Bob, maybe you stand there by that table. That mic will pick up your voice and everybody can hear it.
I have a lot of questions about some things that have gone on
Okay.
in this township. I talk to a lot of people in this township. I go to very few of these meetings, however, I do watch the videos. And the combination of watching the videos that Mr. Linden and Sue Furlong put out for the township, the school, and so forth, you learn a lot, you see a lot. And it makes you think about things. You start to put little pieces together of things. And that's what happened several months ago, when I heard that the Holiday House parking lot was repaved. It triggered something in me. It triggered something in me that went back over a year ago. Back to February 11th of 2016, when the Joint Recreation Commission minutes were done, and they talked about pool status in that segment. It was stated it would cost $73,000 to resurface that parking lot. And that number, it's a big number. That's a lot of money for someone who's lived in this township for a long time, who's watched the numbers, because I do watch the financial numbers, and when I do go to these meetings and so forth, it's a lot of money to incorporate in one lump sum. Then you jump to February 15th, the Holiday House pool report to the Board of Supervisors paving, that it was going to be $73,000. That's what was reported to this board from the Joint Rec Board in 2016. Then we're going to fast forward in 2016 to September 2nd. And H&K files an application with this township to change the zoning at the quarry and expand the quarry. That happened on September 2nd. Okay? That was put up on the website. Thank you, Greg. The entire application was put on the website on September 20th of 2016. Very helpful. A lot of information. A lot to read. But we do read this. A lot of people read what goes on in this township on the internet. And I'm thankful for that. So now we're going to jump to 2017. The West Rockhill Board of Supervisors minutes from March 29th. You announced that you're going to have a tour and a continental breakfast at the quarry, at the Naceville Quarry. And I thought that's a cool idea. And I called the township and I said, you know, I'd like to come to that because I could learn something. I like to bring my grandkids. And I brought my grandkids and I learned a lot. And my wife has on her phone a picture of my little guys standing next to a big truck. It's cool. It's a quarry. Little guys like big trucks. But there's consequences with quarries. April 6th, the Joint Rec Commission. This is 2017, April 6th. The minutes. It was discussed about bringing a sweeper into the Holiday House parking lot to sweep it up. This is April 6th. The pool opens May 28th. Come in, clean up the parking lot, get it ready to go for the pool opening on the 28th. April 6th to April 19th, the West Rockhill Board of Supervisors. In the report, there's no mention of parking lot paving, in the old business, Nacenville Quarry tour, a great success. Mr. Haynes thanked the township for assistance. 13 days had transpired since the Holiday House Commission asked for that sweeper to come in and sweep that parking lot. There was a video. There was a video out on Penridge Buzz. You should look at it. April 19th. Board of Supervisors meeting. This board. At minute 36.25. Jay Kaiser acknowledges the lack of monies. The commission, Jeff, acknowledged the cost to be $73,000. He remembered from before when he did the study, and he was very thorough in what he did. Everything he did for this township, he was very, very thorough. You asked for the square footage of that pool, the parking lot, at the pool.
I don't think so.
Yes, you did. It's in the video.
Square
May
footage?
4th.
The square footage?
There's a video where you ask,
I asked what the cost was.
no, you ask, there's a video.
Okay.
Videos are telling. You ask about the square footage. Let's go to May 4th and go to the Joint Rec Commission minutes. Jim Miller recommended that the rental agreement with Zara, Inc. not be renewed because H&K was going to pave the parking lot. I looked at the statement of revenue that the pool commission puts out, the Holiday House puts out.
Mm-hmm.
There's no mention of anything in there to date. There's no mention of any contribution. And they do have, in their chart of accounts, a place for contributions and donations. June 1st, the Joint Rec Commission minutes. Jim Miller proposed 20 two-day passes for the H&K workers who did the work at the parking lot. Very nice thought. There's a video out on June 21st, minute 1.0211 and minute 1.0310. Jim Miller and Jay Kaiser talk in detail about the parking lot. And you were excited about how well it was done, how the seams were done, the striping was done. West Rockhill Board of Supervisors minutes, July 19th. Jim Miller presented revenue and expense for the Holiday House pool, and it was noted that Suzanne Clark obtained a donation of $1,500. It was publicly out there, right on the minutes. Nicely done. So my question really comes down, my first question comes to, what transpired between April 19th and May 14th and May 4th? That's 13 days if you don't count the 2 meeting nights. 13 days, that's a quick time frame decision for a project that's said to have cost almost $75,000. And in light of the fact you, Jay, stated the Joint Rec did not have the monies.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
So my first question is, what transpired in those 13 days?
What transpired in those 13 days, Bob, and there were people in this meeting that witnessed it, was my questioning Jeff on what the costs were of that parking lot repaving. And Mr. Haynes sitting in the audience there as a spectator regarding the project going on. After the meeting, Mr. Haynes went to Greg and said, I'd like to take a look at that to see if I could help. This was told to the board by Greg at a later time. From that time on, the project was taken care of. I did thank Mr. Haynes for what he has done and pointed out the quality of the work. The Joint Rec Authority is a separate entity, and that was done for the Joint Rec Authority. Township had no involvement of doing any favors or anything of that such sort, okay?
It's a joint authority.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me ask you a couple questions.
And I'm just going to take a minute here just to remind you that this is public comment. It is not public cross-examine the Board of Supervisors, but he doesn't seem to have problems answering the questions. So, but let's not get adversarial or badger people or things like
I
that.
don't think I was badgering anyone, Mary.
I didn't suggest that you were.
Thank you. It's an authority that this township
Contributes.
contributes too.
Mhm.
Okay. So this township is involved. Maybe not legally directly,
Financially,
but
we're involved.
financially,
Mhm.
socially, we're involved with the Holiday House pool. Okay. I would like to know, and I think a lot of people in the audience would like to know, who approved, did the authority approve this? Who approved the gift?
I'll take that. Jeff Markley was the chairman.
Oh,
Jeff brought it up in front of the board. The board approved it, 5 votes yes, and 1 abstention. I abstained from voting.
well, let me ask you this then. If the board approved it, why didn't you disclose that in your minutes?
I didn't notice it wasn't in there because we don't do the minutes.
But you approved the minutes.
We approved the minutes, and it was a mistake.
It was a
mistake.
It was a mistake.
It was a mistake.
The whole
It
thing
should-
is a mistake.
It should have been in there, along with all the other volunteers. I've got a whole list of people that volunteered around that same 2-month period.
We were all working on
A
the
lot
pool.
of people volunteer. I understand that, and you
And
did a
their
great
time
job.
and their money and what they can afford
I
to put
understand
in.
that, and I appreciate that, and a lot of people in this township appreciate it. What we don't appreciate is being kept in the dark about, you could have brought this up. You had a
Let
public
me
meeting
say
here.
something
You
here,
could have
Bob.
talked about
I
this.
brought this up in every meeting we had through the entire process. I thanked every person that volunteered. If you would have been here, you would have heard that. I thank everyone, every business that volunteered. Quakertown National Bank, Tommy Womble, Tony. Where's Tony? Tony volunteered, brought over his front end loader.
And that's great.
We've got Worth and Company. We've got a retired school teacher that donated $5,000. We've got Bob Strobel, who spent hours and hours over there. Chris Durstein, who was building things for the pool. Cool Eats, who not only gutted and rebuilt the snack stand, but they also were doing work around the pool, helping us fix it up. These are all things. We had a resident who found the old Holiday House pool sign, refurbished it, and hung it for us outside the pool. These are all things that everyone was doing. And I brought every one of these up in a meeting. This was no surprise to anybody.
If you brought this all up in the meeting, there's no mention of such a huge project. You mentioned the $1,300 that Suzanne was able to raise. Why wasn't $73,000 worth of services mentioned? That's a question.
I don't know that we actually looked into the cost of it.
We never
We
asked.
never asked them what the cost was.
Nobody ever
They
asked.
volunteered to do it, just like all these other folks volunteered to do it. None of the folks out that came and volunteered and helped told us what their cost was. This was another someone from the community who was volunteering time and services and material, exactly like all these other people.
Do you, in hindsight, let me ask you this, could this have been handled better, more transparently?
We weren't hiding anything. I was not hiding anything. I think I brought it up to everyone in this that was in this room.
Do you not
exactly
think,
what was
do you not think it's
done.
improper for the township authority, this authority in this township that has an application in this township that you have a joint venture with? Do you think it's proper to take?
If I can take that
I'm
one?
not answering any more questions on this.
All right, you don't have to answer anymore. I can.
I want to say something to you,
Go
Bob.
ahead.
The supervisors in this township would never trade off favors for any project done in the township. Okay, that's not the way we have expressed ourselves, nor has it been the way we have operated. Okay, you're wrong. You're wrong if you're thinking that way. I know that you're going that route, but you're wrong. We have done nothing but good for the township and the residents of it. And I think most of them that sit in this room here, that come to these meetings every month, know that.
You know, Mr. Rambo asked you all to go look at the videos. Please go back and look at them for those 4 months, because you will see me thanking every one of these people. You will see me talking about it and how excited we were about the work that all these folks are doing, including H&K at the pool.
I want to add one thing also.
You're exactly right.
I want you to look at the video of my exchange with Jeff regarding the issues at the pool and the cost of that parking lot. I want you to do that, because you will see on that video, he said, there's no sense talking about it because it's too much money. I said, we need to know.
Exactly.
Because
Exactly.
I walk the pool every year before it starts to see what things are wrong. And I saw issues there that we had to, somebody was gonna have to address sooner or later, okay? That's the matter.
Well, what I'm going to say to this board is, this has the appearance. It may not be illegal, but it has the appearance. This doesn't pass the sniff test in a lot of people's mind in this township. I'm sorry, it doesn't.
Well, you can twist it any way you want,
I'm not
Bob.
twisting it
Yes,
any way
you
I
are,
want.
Bob.
No, I'm not, Jim.
Yes, you
You're
are.
not going to ask me any more
Have I
questions.
not been open with everybody on everything we have been doing for the Holiday House pool, month after month after month?
You're casting accusations at this board.
No,
Bob.
I'm not.
Yes, you
No.
are. Yes, you are.
No, I am not.
You're casting accusations
There's an appearance.
on assumptions.
There is an appearance, okay? There's an appearance. I have one other question.
And you're
Mary, I'd like
honest.
to ask you, if you don't mind. In the H&K application, on page 178, there's a deed withdrawal, restriction removal. How do you remove a deed restriction from a property that you don't own 21 years later?
Well, you can't do it unilaterally. The person who owns the property upon which the restriction was imposed can do it at any time if there's no other beneficiaries. So I don't want to waste a whole lot of time with the legal nuances of it, but when you're writing a restriction like that, and when I write restrictions like that related to approval of subdivision or development plans, you put in the restriction the names of the people to whom the benefit inures. So, like if we say there should be no further subdivision of this lot, we list in there who has the right to enforce that particular provision. Greg told me you had questions about that deed restriction. That deed restriction was imposed by the property owner, but it didn't list anybody outside of the property who was to benefit from that restriction. And then time passes, the property owner, same property, well, almost the same property owner, executes a document extinguishing that restriction. That is absolutely legally permissible, and it happens a lot.
It just seems wrong. It seems wrong.
In retrospect, if, I don't know what the intent of the property owners was, and if you look at it from this way, if it's a township document, which it wasn't, this was a transaction that happened between two private parties, you have the right to do what you want with your property, within limits, obviously, without your neighbors saying, oh, you can't do that. So if you gave your next door neighbor an easement to get over your property, to access their property, and then you extinguished that easement with your neighbor's permission, the person who gets the easement's permission, the person on the other side of you, it's not their business. They don't have the right to object to it unless they're given the right in the document that's recorded in the first place. In this case, nobody was mentioned in the original restriction other than the property owner. And so when the property owner decided, yeah, I'm gonna relieve them of this restriction, they have the right to do it.
They have the right to do it, man.
Right?
It just seems odd. It just seems odd to me that H&K makes an application and then the property deed restrictions are removed, and it happens to be a quarry. It just seems odd.
If you're saying it's oddly, this doesn't touch the township at all. The township, nobody comes before
No, I
the
understand that
township
part.
to get restrictions removed. I mean, and I won't speculate, but I mean, that. I'm sure the property owner was enticed. It's not a secret.
For $1 and other considerations.
Well,
And it just, typical legal term, and
Right.
I understand it. It's just, it's a shame. And again, it's appearance.
well,
It's appearance.
I'm not sure what you mean by appearance, because it's completely a private property
I
transaction.
Yeah. I understand that, I understand it's legal, I understand what you're saying, but I also understand that the timing of everything. Timing is crucial in all this. listening to this. And Jim, I'm sorry you felt badgering you or badgering this board, but there's the appearance, and I'm going to leave you with that.
Now,
There's the
I have
appearance.
one more thing to say.
Sure.
There were 2 cash donations. One that we got from QNB that Suzanne brought up. Another was $5,000 from a private citizen who's a retired school teacher. Both of those were brought out to the public. I didn't ask anyone else anything about what their services cost because they were donating their services. Okay? Maybe that's something in the future we need to put that in as a process. But it was not done for anyone who donated their services, their material, or their time.
I think minutes should be improved then from the authority. And since you're our representative, I'm going to ask you to ask them
I will talk
to improve their minute-taking capability, because it is very vague.
Yeah.
It's misleading, and again, it has formed the appearance,
Well,
okay?
my vote's
that
not
there's
for
There's
sale.
something going on. You're what?
My vote is not for sale.
So I hope not. Anybody want any paving done? See Jim and Jerry.
That's not called for. That's not right. You can't finish on that.
Mr. Strobel?
Bob Strobel, Upper Rockydale. So, this whole situation, if the owner had not changed the paperwork a year ago, would we be in this position?
I don't know.
Is that a point?
I'm sorry, I can't answer that, Bob. I don't know how crucial that, that parcel of property is to the whole application,
Okay.
so I don't want to try and guess.
Because I thought the owner had... Okay, I'm not going there, okay.
Yeah, the owner signed something,
Yeah.
like, whether that was the linchpin in all of this, I don't think anybody up here could say that without speculating, and that's not fair.
Okay, moving forward.
Question.
I have a question
Oh,
about lots.
name and address,
Sorry.
please.
Karina Rillings, 217 Thousand Acre Road. It's about the quarry also. It's about parcel 36, which adjoins the parcel that we're talking about with the deed restriction removed. The quarry says that it has the right to mine this pending a permit from the state, a surface mining permit, which they don't have yet. However, this 39 acres is almost all wetlands. They plan to mine only about 5 acres. But I don't see, is it legal for them to mine wetlands in an RC district? The township has done nothing to change the zoning in this particular area.
Hold on, Mrs. Willing, can I ask you again, what was the parcel number?
Yeah, that's what I have to find, and
It's the one that
Lot
adjoins.
36, did you say?
It's 36. I can give you the number. It's almost 40 acres.
Okay.
I'm trying to pull up the settlement, and then I can answer your question. So, if you have
Frank, that's
another
the one
question, if
to
you can
the
go ahead.
northeast, or to the northeast?
I think it's the northeast.
Yeah, it goes back, it runs parallel to Thousand Acre Road.
It's next to the state
Right.
wetlands.
It's the 5 acres that they think they can already mine,
They
that
think that they
adjoins the ones.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
So I think what your question is, and I wanted to look at the settlement agreement before I actually answered that part of the question, but assuming, and here we go, here it is. Just plain old 36?
36.
Yeah, that is part of the original settlement, and, except for not having a DEP mining permit, they have the legal right to pursue a mining permit. From the township standpoint, this settlement predated our zoning ordinance, and it was a settlement of a lawsuit that, 24-year lawsuit where the township fought the quarry. But yes, they have the right to pursue a mining permit there. Whether or not DEP will take into consideration the environmental constraints on the property, that's a question maybe Steve can answer. I can't, but it's a possibility.
But I think because they have not acted on that, they need a revision or a new permit, I believe.
From
in order to
DEP?
quarry. I believe. From
Sure.
DEP.
absolutely.
But my question is, how can they mine something where the township hasn't corrected its zoning? You can't mine in an RC district when it's, I mean, every map here in this whole room shows this residential conservation area.
Let me just try and explain it chronologically. When Mignotti, who was the predecessor, and they actually still own some parcels out there, when Mignotti came in to start the quarry 1,000,000 years ago, we were all home watching Gilligan's Island, there was no zoning in West Rockhill Township.
Right.
And we were governed by county zoning, which allowed quarrying as a special exception. They went to the county, they had their hearing, they got approval for the special exception, and the township appealed. And that's what started the 24 years of litigation. So if you look at it chronologically, first, we had no zoning when they came in. Now, the zoning you're talking about, the conservation, the residential conservation district, that didn't come into existence till many, many years later. And probably the settlement agreement was signed before, and certainly their application was filed before that zoning classification came into existence. 1992 is when we signed the settlement agreement. I think it was 2013 when that was rezoned to RC. Wasn't it RA or something like that?
Before that.
I don't remember.
Whichever the case would be,
Wasn't it?
Was zoning just.
they had, our zoning can't take away rights that people have today. So if you're operating a business on your property and then it gets zoned to residential, you have the right to continue to operate your business. Pennsylvania is real strong on private property rights. So, yeah, they still have the right regardless of what. On new properties, that's different. But as to the properties that are listed in the settlement agreement, they have the rights in the settlement agreement, and they're not affected by after adopted zoning.
Okay,
How was that?
I understand everything you're saying. However, since it's almost all wetlands, and they said they won't touch the wetlands, they'll only mine the 5 acres, isn't there some way that the township can ask for some kind of subdivision to protect themselves against the quarry going in and mining in that area, in the wetlands area? Is there any way the township can protect themselves?
The answer to that question is yes. But before the board, and I've heard almost every member of this board kind of grumble the same thing. But before you get to the point where can't the township protect themselves, the board has to decide whether or not they think any expansion's a good idea. So, you know, you're putting the chicken in front of the egg, so to speak. So.
Okay.
Another question.
Yes, ma'am.
Trish Erlinger, 410,000 Acre Road.
Okay.
My question is, and I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but from listening and reading some minutes and things as well, is it, I'll take it the wrong way, is it common to donate to families when they gave their time and money and energy to do something? So you gave free passes to Haynes and Kittlehouse family members to go to the pool. Well, there's a lot of people that also did things.
Let me correct you there.
Okay, correct me, because I'm trying to,
The passes were given to the crew members that did the work. Those crew members lived in West Rockhill,
Okay.
Sellersville, Percy, and Quakertown.
So do the other people that donated all their time and money, that did the $5,000, the refresh, do they get free passes?
I will share with you, about
That's
7 years ago, Worth and Company donated a $10,000 header for the pump house, if any of you remember that. We couldn't afford that, to have that done. So the company that I work for, I talked to the owner, and he was willing to help. So we built that header, and in appreciation to that, the pool, Jeff Markley bought pizzas for the workers in the shop that did that work, and they gave out some pool passes. That's what was
I
done
just think there
with
was
that.
a lot of other people involved that should have also
Trish,
gotten
yeah,
other things.
we did. We gave out pool passes.
That's awesome.
We had more we want to give out next year. I know Tony didn't get one
I
yet.
know,
He's got
like, I
it.
mean, they,
Yeah.
I know money.
No,
I
I'm
would
just
like to
saying,
put
no, there's,
money
but,
on a lot of things, but time is a lot of people's money.
Sure.
exactly.
And time donated, I mean, that is like, to me, it's more valuable than money.
Right. And
So
I,
when there's people coming out in sweat and tears, I mean, it's like, something should be done. If you're gonna do it for one, you should do it
oh,
for everybody.
and I agree, Trish.
And that, I mean, that's important, that people,
We gave out.
that the township
yeah.
shows that they are doing
We
great
gave-
things
yeah.
for their community,
Yeah, we
not
gave
just
out-
specific.
We gave out about 70 pool passes this summer to
That's
people.
awesome.
And we want to give out more. And mainly, we're giving them out, we gave them to the police department, we gave them to the board, the borough council, to give to their friends, because we want people to come out and use the pool, see what it's like, and then
I
maybe
think
join.
that's where God was going with the whole thing, was
Well-
like, some things are in the minutes,
Well-
some things aren't in the minutes, like it was in the minutes that you did give that to Haynes and Cable House's family, so that
Yeah.
kind of.
It wasn't
I feel
their family.
bad.
It wasn't their family. It was
Well,
their
whatever
workers.
whatever the minutes were,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you said,
yeah.
the members who helped, okay, but.
I will
it
share.
just-
I do want to share with you though, Trish, too.
I just
The
think it's
countless
neat.
hours that we put in down there working on the pool, and we don't put that in the minutes because we don't want to take that acknowledgement. Jim and I spent a Saturday
That's
morning
true.
hanging the display case that Chris Durstein built for the
That's
pool,
awesome.
and we didn't put that in the minutes.
But
Yeah, the
Should
point
we?
is, Chris, yeah,
I
Trish,
just think
you're
that
correct, you're
I
correct.
just feel like
We
there's a
have
lot
more-
of people
yeah,
in this
right.
township who do a lot of things and don't get recognized. Like you will mention some, but only some get put in the minutes and some, I just think that it just doesn't. And that's where I think Bob was saying appearance, because it doesn't look good.
Well,
Some people want to remain anonymous too. Sometimes
That's true.
they don't
And you
want to
can
be
put that.
acknowledged.
Donations remain anonymous.
some
I
of
mean,
those people were already pool members that made donations, so no, we didn't plan on giving them pool passes. Some of
there
them
should be
weren't.
something else, I don't know what, but there are other things that, you know, just little quirks. I
We are
don't care
look-
if it's a
we're-
Wawa gift card.
No, well, we're
I know
looking,
it sounds silly, but
no, it's not
just-
silly. Suzanne, as our pool manager, is always coming to me and saying, you know, we need to get more people involved.
That's
And
right.
we've really, for the last 6 months, we have really been looking for ways to get people more involved with the pool. And one of the ways is to give out a pool pass to somebody, for a family of 4 for a day. Okay, that's the kind of things we've been doing. We have more we have to give out. Each one of those is listed at the Sellersville Borough, because they keep the minutes, they keep the accounting and everything. And how many we gave out is there, I don't know how many we got back. Very few. So, I mean, we've given out a lot and we got very few back. But the point is, we're trying to show these people we appreciate what they've been doing.
Great.
And we do have more to give out.
That's good. It's nice to hear.
Okay, that.
Thank you.
Oh,
I'll be as quick as I can, I talk fast.
name and address, please.
Mike Weber, 2050 Cat Hill Road. So I'll just continue beating this horse until it's completely dead. But you mentioned giving out the pool passes, recognizing contributors for their time, energies, and whatnot. The concern that I have in reading everything and looking at the videos of the minutes are the people that are making signs, the people that are painting tables and whatnot, aren't coming in front of this community or this township with a potential financial gain, depending upon how you guys vote. And again, I'm not alleging any impropriety. All I'm saying is that the potential for this umbrella of a conflict is there simply because of an omission of the contribution. And again, I'm not pointing a finger at you, at anyone.
I understand
that. The illusion is there
I
that
understand.
now H&K, who paved this thing, and granted, it didn't cost them 73, 75 grand, whatever their number is. As a business owner, I don't begrudge him of that, you know, whether it's a gesture of goodwill, but it needs to be recognized somewhere visibly so that you guys aren't put in the position that you're in now, trying to defend your character and your honor on something that we hope doesn't even exist. That you're not for sale for what's going to go on across the street simply because of a parking lot at a pool. I would hope you got your driveway paved instead of something, your financial gain. That doesn't exist. So I'm not saying that's what it is. There is no impropriety, but the illusion of it is what the concern is with those of us that are here.
Well, if you look at the bigger picture, it's not just H&K that gave us donations. There were other businesses.
And I'm just saying,
And
of
those
that
businesses-
magnitude, those are the guys, they're the number one, they're the gold medal winner, and they're the ones that
Today-
Well, let's,
have issues.
okay, time is up. We're gonna stop this discussion right now.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
No, just so
For
you
him,
know,
his time's
this
up.
this was a confirmed appointment for Mr. Rambo. The board does take
Understood.
the board takes public comments at the end of the meeting.
That's correct.
And anybody that wants to comment, feel free to stay.
Without question.
Public comment. I'm going to be moving on to the committee reports. Next on the agenda is the Planning Commission. Mr. Durstein?
Okay. I didn't even get a hot dog from the Anyway, all right, we met last week. Rich Hill Associates came in to see us with an informal sketch. They have a plan for a 272 home development north of Rich Hill Road, east of 309.
West.
West of 309, I'm sorry. Thank you. Majority of the homes are in Richland Town.
Richland Township.
Richland Township, yes. Richland Township, on 81 acres. 36 dwellings would be in West Rockhill Township on 16.72 acres. 23 of those would be singles and 13 would be active adult dwellings. It is in our RC zone. It is in Richland's AR zone, which has similar, it's a similar zone to our RC. Rich Hill Associates are requesting a zoning ordinance amendment for a lot size in the RC district. They were proposing lots of 6,000 and 7,000 square feet in the RC, where our minimum is 1.8 acres. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it's probably 80,000 square feet. That's close enough, yeah.
Yeah, and they're looking for a similar activity out of Richland Township. The project would be sewered by Bucks County Sewer and Water. The project entry and exit is a big issue, among a lot of issues. They have two lanes coming in off of Rich Hill Road, coming through the West Rockhill Township portion. They have one entrance coming in off of 309 on a southbound lane. Would be a right entrance in and right exit out only. So northbound out of this project poses a lot of problems.
How much road frontage in West Rockhill Township did you?
You know what? I don't know what that is. You know what that number is?
On 309 or on Rich Hill Road?
On Rich Hill Road. That would be the township.
It goes from the intersection with 309 west past the Huntsburg property.
Okay. Because that road's really narrow.
Yeah.
Not very wide.
The whole agricultural field that's at
Okay.
the corner now is part of this property.
All right.
So one of the solutions that they had, they're going to meet with PennDOT to discuss a traffic light basically at the entrance of at their entrance off of 309, which would be midway between Tollgate Road and Rich Hill Road. Traffic light there would allow left-hand turn going northbound, would allow left-hand turn in going northbound, left-hand turn out going northbound as well. That poses a lot of questions and problems for us as well. From a safety standpoint, you've got the hill at Rich Hill Road traveling northbound on 309. Traffic backs up to that hill now from Tollgate Road. I live right there. I hear squealing tires. I hear accidents. People come over that knoll and traffic stopped dead. You put a traffic light there midway, it's going to push it back over the hill. So could make it worse. Mm-hmm. So the concerns with traffic, I spoke with Greg about this, and he suggested that we share our concerns with Richland Town or Richland Township.
We did not make that official as a committee to ask you to do that. I did poll the other committee members via phone individually, and they were all on board with me suggesting or asking that the township send a letter to the Planning Commission of Richland Township expressing our concerns with traffic.
Did they mentioned when they were in front of the board that one time that they were going to have a traffic study done.
Yes.
Was that done yet?
No.
You haven't, okay.
It was not done yet. And does PennDOT do the traffic study? Or was
No, they'll have a consultant do the
Private.
traffic study.
And
it-
there-
PennDOT was with 309 and the like.
The last I saw, because I get copied in on some of the correspondence going back between the Richland Township traffic engineer and the developer, they're negotiating the parameters of the traffic study, so they haven't done it yet. Did they file a formal application to amend the zoning ordinance? So this is just all preliminary.
Yeah, they submitted a sketch plan.
Yeah, and apparently they're letting Richland Township lead on this. So they're going to do the model amendment, I guess, and it'll go from there.
And how many homes did you say would be, they proposing to be in West Rockhill?
And West Rockhill was 36.
36, okay.
Yes.
And it's, yeah, total development would, when they met with Greg and Steve and I, they were proposing 189 age-restricted units, all of which would be singles, and then 98 call it market units, like not age-restricted, 36 in West Rockhill Township. Of that 36, 13 would be age-restricted, and the remainder would be, 23, I guess, would be age-restricted.
Okay.
Oh, I had it the other way. I had 23 singles and 13 what they call active adult dwellings. I could have that.
Maybe they switched that around too, because one of,
Yeah,
we had
it
made
was-
some
it was less on
comments
the
that,
adult.
yeah.
Not that you aren't already aware, Chris, but I'd like to just express my concerns on traffic
Okay.
from West Rock Hill's point of view. I know that only part of the homes in our township, but the Rich Hill Road, Shoecraft Road, Whalen Road to Green Top is going to be a big change.
Yep.
Because the people that can't go north on 309 out of Rich Hill are going to sneak down Whalen around to Green Top and come back out there on Old 309 to go up there. You know that's going to happen.
Oh,
They're also
absolutely.
going to go down to the, what is it,
They're
the
gonna go down
salt
to
shed
salt
down
shed.
there and do.
They do
U-turns.
that now.
And that's
Right.
really
Absolutely.
dangerous.
So,
They do that now, and they go across Green Top.
I just want you
Old Bethel Pike.
to make sure that you make a note of that so you can bring that up when you have your
Absolutely.
next
Yeah,
session.
I mean, it's a traffic nightmare. I mean, there could be 500 cars a day coming out of there.
Right.
So, where are they going to go? Especially if they want to go north.
Roy Ann. They're going to Roy Ann.
Okay. Now they're going to turn around there and go north. Well, they're going to have to update their sewer then. At the Roy Inn.
Yes. Anything else, Chris?
I think that's all we had on Rich Hill.
Any questions? Don, you have anything?
So again, who pens a letter to Richland Planning Commission?
Should the board do it, or the manager?
As long as it's okay with the Board of
Yep.
Supervisors.
Okay with me, Don, you want?
Yeah.
Get with Greg. Okay.
Will do. Okay. Next at our meeting, we had the PC vacancy to deal with. We lost Jeff a few months back, so we needed to fill his spot. We had two applicants, Ben Body and John Sweariduck. PC voted. Ben Body got the nod by a vote of 3-1. So we are recommending Ben Body as the newest Planning Commission member. But it's up to you guys. We did thank John for his application.
And John is on the
John is on the
Comprehensive Planning Committee,
Yes.
right?
Where we hope he stays. So that is my report.
Okay, thank you very much.
You got it?
Any questions for Chris?
No, but should we make a motion for?
I put forth a motion to accept their proposal for replacement in the Planning Commission.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion's been made and second. All those signify by saying aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
You got it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Forth a motion to accept the Planning Commission meeting.
All right. If you didn't hear, Don made a motion to accept the
planning commission report as presented.
I'll second it.
It's been seconded by Jim. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.